Chairman of the RNC, Michael Whatley, who joins us now. Sir, good to have you with us, and congratulations on how last night went. Michael Whatley, you there, sir?
Hey, thank you, Vince. It is a great day in America. We are so excited about what we saw yesterday with Americans literally from one end of the country to the other coming out and saying that they want this country to go in a different direction. And they want a president who is going to make America strong again and be able to rebuild our economy and our southern border.
Was there at any point that you were uncertain that it was going to go this way? What was your thinking over the last few weeks as we were approaching Election Day?
The primary thing that we saw was in the early vote and the mail-in vote period, because voter registration over the course of the year, we continued to get momentum. We continued to see great numbers, but, we retooled our ground game going into this cycle and really focused on low propensity voters and trying to reach, people that were not traditionally Republican voters. And when we saw the early vote numbers coming in that were really hitting our target audiences, we knew that was a good sign. And then, when we closed out the early voting period and we had outright leads in early vote, in Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and North Carolina for the first time ever, we knew something was coming up. And, throughout the course of the day yesterday, there's always anecdotes. You hear, oh, we got, long lines and we've got, great turnout or, the cities are doing whatever. And I try not to pay a lot of attention to that because I'm a metrics guy.
Right.
But as soon as the numbers started landing, I thought, yeah, we've got a chance, and we really, you need North Carolina and Georgia, and then you need one of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. And so, that's where we really started watching, what was going on there. For us to actually break through in all 7 battleground states and win the popular vote, that's really the sign of strength that America really, truly is wanting an America First president and America First agenda. And, honestly, the fact that we're going to have a Republican Senate and a Republican Congress is really in large part to the fact that those voters turned out to support President Trump and then worked all the way down the ticket.
It is amazing. Was this always a matter of just the fundamentals of this race? If voters have this excellent comparison, easy comparison between the Biden era and the Trump era, or were there moments in the race that really defined the outcome? Was there anything you look back on and said, man, that really changed the momentum for us?
Overall, we always thought it was about the fundamentals. That's why he had such a commanding lead against Joe Biden. And we saw a period when they pushed him off the stage and brought in Kamala, that there was a lot of chatter, there was a lot of noise. She raised $1 billion in 3 months. She got a press honeymoon that lasted for a month, and it took a while for it to settle back down into the fundamentals. And so coming out of Labor Day, we really thought, okay, if this thing doesn't start tracking like a normal election, we're gonna have to figure out what to do. But it really did settle down into that normal election pattern where you have 2 candidates and voters are taking a look at them
Yes.
and trying to decide what's important to them. So that was really important. The other thing is we knew, right? So 79% of the American people were saying that America is on the wrong track. They do not like the inflation. They do not like the illegal immigration. They don't like the fact we're facing a war in the Middle East. And Kamala Harris went on The View, and they asked her a very simple softball question. Is there anything that you would do differently than Joe Biden? And she said, there's nothing I can think of. And honestly, we jumped on that as quickly as we could because it absolutely crystallized for us this election. You're going to have 4 more years of failed policies, or you're going to have 4 more years of Donald Trump's policies where America was strong. We had a strong economy and a strong southern border, and there were no wars because he was executing a peace through strength geopolitical strategy.
And that moment where Kamala Harris tells the women of The View that she can't think of anything that distinguishes her from Joe Biden. We're already finding out today as the Harris campaign begins to leak the reasons why they feel like everything went south. That was one of the big moments that they were, basically just kicking themselves that they didn't have an answer, that Kamala Harris couldn't answer that question, and they realized that very much hurt them. Also, one of the other things we're hearing from the Harris people right now, ahead of her concession speech coming up at the top of this hour, Michael Whatley, is that they didn't expect to have to make a concession speech so quickly. They thought that even if they were losing last night, that the election would not yet have been called. They thought that this was going to be a longer affair. How is it that it ended so quickly, and what did you make of the fact that we actually got an answer out of Pennsylvania over the course of election night?
Yeah, so two things. First off, we fought very hard to put in place an election integrity program all across the country that was going to ensure that we were going to protect the vote, that we were going to be in the room when the votes were being cast and the votes were being counted. So we had legal teams deployed in every state all across the country. We recruited and trained 6,500 attorneys, 230,000 volunteers to be in the room. And so anytime there was any issue that could potentially cause, delay or drama in the counts, we had lawyers and we were on site and we were able to nip that in the bud right away. That, I think, was pretty significant. But more significant than that even is the fact that we swamped the vote. President Trump had such a commanding lead in all of these states. I think, frankly, they could have called Pennsylvania and Georgia 2 hours earlier than they did.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of the news coverage was either trying to, pray their way out of it or, maybe get some more television revenues, for commercials for keeping people on the line. But, we felt, substantially earlier in the night that we were in a position to win this thing. And somebody, texted me, probably around 1 o'clock or so and said, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "Impatient," because we were ready to kind of make that call and get moving.
One of the other pieces here, thanks to President Trump and the success here by the Republican Party, it looks like the future for Republican politics will include a lot more voter registrations and a lot more turnout efforts. Because if turnout is high, right now the math says that means a Republican victory, Michael Whatley.
Yeah, we're really excited. The two things that we set up to do in this election cycle were get out the vote and protect the ballot. The election integrity program was obviously very key, for what we were doing, on election and election day. But getting out the vote, absolutely critical, because if you don't have the votes, it doesn't matter, anything else, nothing else matters. And, we retooled the ground game to really focus on bringing in new voters and low propensity voters.
Yes.
And when we started getting those early vote returns and the mail-in ballot returns, what we noticed was in every battleground state, somewhere around 15 to 20% of those voters had not voted in 2020. They were not regular voters. Some of them were first-time voters. Some of them were low props. And when we saw that as a sizable percentage, we thought, okay, we're onto something here.
Can you give me some perspective on what led President Trump and the campaign to go to Virginia this past Saturday? Last night we watched as all of this was coming in, and I was saying on the air that I didn't realize, I was hoping for this, but I didn't realize that we'd be discussing not 7 but 8 battleground states last night. Virginia was neck and neck for most of the evening. President Trump went there Saturday. Can you take us behind the scenes on the thinking and what brought President Trump to the Commonwealth?
Well, what we saw was that we were within striking distance. We were seeing really, really solid numbers in early absentee vote returns. We saw polling that it was tightening up a little bit, and we were going to be in North Carolina that day, and so easy enough to just kind of try and put, those two together. We try and pair up Arizona and Nevada when we're traveling that way. We try to pair up Michigan and Wisconsin whenever we traveled that way. So for us, it was, build an event, go in there, kind of gauge what we're seeing with the turnout. And we ended up really, truly driving, the margin down by more than half from where it was in 2020. Look, Governor Youngkin showed us the way in Virginia. How to run an upbeat campaign, an issues-focused campaign, and really truly drive that turnout. And I'm disappointed that we weren't able to kind of get it across the line. But I still see signs of life in Virginia that make me pretty excited as the RNC chair.
And looking forward, Michael Whatley, you have obviously the White House, the president coming in, a Republican White House, a Republican Senate now. Things are looking good there, but the House remains outstanding. How do you view the House projections right now?
So we're cautiously optimistic. I think we will have a small margin there. And it just really shows you how closely divided America is. Kellyanne Conway, I think, put it best when she called this a narrow landslide. Because we won all of these states, by, a couple points. But we did string all of them together and to win those 7 battlegrounds. Look, the fact is having a majority in the House is absolutely critical for us. Everything that we're going to try and get done for the president, for this agenda, we're going to need a strong House-Senate partnership. We're going to need them to work with President Trump and the administration to make the kind of fundamental changes that the president wants to make for America here.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. Well, congratulations again to Michael Whatley and the team over at the Republican National Committee, both on the actual get out the vote effort and the election integrity effort. We've been paying so much attention to that and have been grateful for all of your updates throughout this season. Thank you, sir.
Well, listen, I appreciate the chance to come on a fairly regular basis and talk to you and your listeners. And we are, again, thankful for all of the support that came for President Trump and Republicans up and down the ticket. And we're very excited where the direction of the country is going to go now that we've got a chance to move forward with, Donald Trump as our president in January.
Love it. Thank you, Michael Whatley. That's Michael Whatley, the chairman of the Republican National Committee.